Hi everyone, I'm Paul Valley, and this is the Payoff Pitch. With the season winding down and the Orioles only having 5 games left, they find their record at 75-82, assuring the team of their first losing record since 2011, which is actually no small feat when you consider the fact that they were 22-10 with the best record in baseball back on May 9th. However, since May 9th, the Orioles have gone 53-72, which is a .424 winning percentage. To put that into perspective, if you stretch that .424 winning percentage out across an entire season, the Orioles would have the 6th worst record in baseball this season, which is nice for a good draft pick next June, but not much else. And when a team falls that far from grace that quickly, the blame game and finger pointing begin. And it's very easy to see this team leads the major leagues in home runs. They have a strong bullpen. They have 8 players with 20-plus home runs on their roster right now. And so obviously you can look to the major league worst ERA of the starting rotation and say, well, it's the starting rotation's fault. But for me, it goes deeper than that. For me, it's Dan Duquette's fault. Dan Duquette is the executive vice president of baseball operations for the Baltimore Orioles, which is a glorified term for general manager. And the job of a general manager is to improve the ball club to make them a contender. And now don't get me wrong. Dan Duquette has done a lot for this ball club over the years. In 2013, he traded L.J. Hose and Josh Hader for Bud Norris, which didn't pay dividends that season, but made the team a high playoff contender in 2014 as Norris won 15 games with a sub-4 ERA to help lead the team to 96 wins in an ALCS appearance. He also, in the 2014 season, signed Nelson Cruz and traded for Andrew Miller for a late postseason push to help put the Orioles over the top and help him win Executive of the Year. He's responsible for getting Tim Beckham on the ball club at a very low cost, to be perfectly honest with you, and give the Orioles a, very cost-effective shortstop option for the next 3 seasons. So I can't hate on Dan Duquette for moves like that. What I can hate on him for is moves like trading Pedro Strop and Jake Arrieta for Scott Feldman, who is now a middle-of-the-rotation type starter for one of the Major League's worst teams, the Cincinnati Reds. I can hate on him for giving away first-round draft picks for Ubaldo Jimenez and Yovani Gallardo, and we all know how those signings turned out. I can hate on him for not improving a starting rotation this past offseason, basically really over the last 5 offseasons, when everybody knew that was the Orioles' weakest link. The offense and the bullpen that this team has had for the last 5 years would make this team a World Series contender if Dan Duquette went out and signed any starting pitcher worth his salt. But he couldn't do it. He tried to sell Orioles fans on Ubaldo Jimenez and Yovani Gallardo, Vidal Nuno, Vance Worley, Gabriel Yanoa, Jason Aquino, just to name a few. These guys aren't guys that are going to be difference makers for the Orioles. They're guys who are going to be able to make spot starts and give the team rotational depth. For me, Dan Duquette has simply not done enough to make the Orioles World Series contenders. And yes, after 14 straight years of losing seasons, for the Orioles to finally get back into the playoffs in 2012 and then reach them again in 2014 and 2016 has been great. It's been wonderful. However, at what point is it not good enough anymore? The Orioles haven't won a World Series since 1983. By my count, that's 35 seasons and counting now. That's unacceptable. Peter Angelos has owned a Major League ball club since 1993 and has been to the playoffs 5 times since 1993. That's 5 playoff appearances in 25 seasons. That's unacceptable. The bottom line is the Orioles should have been World Series contenders at least once or twice over the last 5 to 6 seasons, and they simply weren't. And that's because Dan Duquette didn't do his due diligence to go out and get a starting rotation that could push a strong offense and a strong bullpen over the top. Not to mention the fact that on the eve of the winter meetings in 2014, Duquette was reported to have been flirting with the Toronto Blue Jays, aspiring to become their president of baseball operations, while he was under contract through 2018 with the Baltimore Orioles. Now, Peter Angelos took the right stance there and decided that he wasn't going to let Duquette walk for nothing and didn't let Duquette out of his contract. But what he should have done is after the 2015 season, especially after the Orioles went 81-81, and Dan Duquette did literally nothing to make the ball club a better team after a 96-win performance the year before, he should have fired Duquette. And in my opinion now, Duquette needs to go. Dan Duquette should be fired, and the Orioles need to move on and find another general manager to push this team over the top, because what he's doing now just isn't cutting the mustard. That's all I have for today. Next few shows, we'll be talking about the future of the Orioles and what we can look forward to heading into 2018 as the Orioles get to hit a reset button, try again to rebound and get back to the postseason. As always, you can follow me at Paul Valley III on Twitter. You can read my content on UtahStreetReport.com. And again, as always, go O's. Thanks for watching.